Oh, Webster's got a terrible start.
Oh dear me, that is a disgusting start from Steve Webster. I can't imagine what has happened to him there on the start. Great hopes in pole position and a disastrous start.
And Alan Michel has taken every advantage. He has gone into Redgate first. I'm more than a little shocked.
It just looked like Webster was bogged down somewhat there with the throttle. It just seemed to weighed down. He couldn't get the power onto the motorcycle. He couldn't get it off the line. Loads of smoke. He's massively pushing frantically at the back, and no movement whatsoever in the forward motion.
Webster has had problems before now. Austria last year, they put the clutch on the line, did a very slow lap, came in, poured a bottle of mineral water over it and went out again. And I think part of the problem in Holland when they pulled out was indeed the clutch. But we have got Alan Michel at the front now. Where's Webbo? There he is. Very much in the middle of the field. And there's, even though Donington does provide a fair bit of passing space, it is not very easy to get past a bunch of brawling sidecars.
No, that's for sure. I can't imagine Donington have enough parking space to actually make this gap on Elaine Michel. I think he's going to have to look for a shortcut somewhere, maybe. Sidecars are quite, they like to use all of the grass and the track.
That is Alan Michel, number 3, with Simon Birchall in the chair, leading the British Grand Prix.
We ought to refer to Steve Webster as Steve Webster MBE now. He actually collected, along with his ex-passenger Tony Hewitt, the MBE from the Queen last week, which must be a momentous occasion. He's obviously
there he is. Well stuck
looking
in.
Down to the right there, both looking down to the right of the motorcycle there. They've obviously got some problem. The clutch, by the way, is on the right-hand side. He's got a dent in the front.
He's been given a severe nerve somewhere.
Well, he certainly didn't do that on the grid. Oh, it looks like it's a pit job. He'd gone past the pit lane, but it looks like he was going to pull into the area that you shouldn't be able to pull into just there.
Yes, I was worrying about that.
And he has. He's cut through the bales of hay and took the wrong entrance to the pit. Now, whether that's going to be a major problem from a disqualification point of view is another point of order.
Oh, dear.
Well, that's the end of that.
That is very serious indeed, not just for Webster's British Grand Prix hopes, but for his title hopes.
This is only a 24-lap race, of course, Julian, and he's not going to have any time to catch up. That's his exhaust pipes and all sorts of things being bashed into there.
That's the collector box for the exhaust that's been stowed in. It must have bent the end of the expansion chambers. Keith, that is not clever.
No, that's a complete write-up. He'll never get the motorcycle to run again. As you notice there, that the rider and passenger and Steve Webster's father, Mick, actually work on the bike. They don't really have the finances to look after full-time mechanics and teams and technicians, as in the other classes.
Meanwhile, back in the race, Alan Michel leads from Egbert Stroyer. There's the Brooks are third and Rolf Piedan looking menacing in fourth. This is the wreckage of the Webster sidecar. Michel, number 3, with Simon Birchall, nowadays builders from Doncaster, originally from Goole in the northeast. Well-known party animal and extremely competent sidecar passenger. And so is poor Gavin Simmons. But, oh dear. And there's still only 0.3 of a second between first and second and third. It is really nothing, is it, Keith?
No, with 2 laps to go, I think that it remains to be seen. Quite 1 or 3 laps to go, I'm terribly sorry. It looks like there's Egbert Stroyer has been very forceful trying to run himself up the inside of Elaine Michel and Simon Birchall, but to be honest, Elaine Michel has fought off every challenge and has looked probably the more consistent man on the track. It remains to be seen whether Egbert Stroyer can do anything with it, as can possibly old Beeland coming into sight there, all sideways on. Number 4 there, Kurt Beeland.
Sliding his Yokohama-type outfit really quite radically compared to the others. Webster always says that Egbert Stroyer looks like he's on rails a lot of the time. Michel, Stroyer and Beeland are the front 3. You can see them there. Then there's the Brood brothers, the Egloff brothers, and up to 6th place is number 12, Yoshida Kumagaya, with Brian Houghton in the chair. Another English passenger earning his corn today.
So to recap, we have Michel leading number 3, Egbert Stroyer number 2 there, looking for the inside line at the Melbourne Loop again. Behind that is Kurt Wardisberg and Rolf Beeland. Steve Webster and Gavin Simmons are out of the race from a disastrous start. As Stroyer goes on the inside line again. Webster and Simmons are out from the very start with a rather bent motorcycle in an incident that we didn't see. Unfortunately, so we don't quite know what's happened there. And we're back with 2 laps to go, and Michel's still leading.
Stroyer managed to stay a lot closer to Michel that time round, Keith, despite still taking the inside line at Goddard's. I wonder if he's I wonder if he has got a manoeuvre up his sleeve there.
Well, I'm wondering that as well, and I've said already that I'll eat my hat if Stroyer doesn't actually make the move past Michel by the end of the race, and we've only got 2 laps to do that, so I'm readying the hat.
Egbert Stroyer, number 2, world champion in 84, 85 and 86. 3 in a row for Eggy. And there's a back marker in the way, and he's taking advantage, and he's closing right up on Alain Michel again. Back marker fortunately sees him coming, takes a nice wide line, and the front 3 go through. Michel, Stroyer, Bieland, and Alain Michel has a quick and no doubt rather worried look over his shoulder.
Oh, and Bieland is looking at the inside of Stroyer, and Stroyer's looking at the inside of Michel. Oh my God, that was getting all a bit close, and we're coming in amongst the back markers again now, which really, we only need one back marker that doesn't look where he's going, or has a passenger that doesn't look behind him. As Stroyer looks for the inside on the brakes, he's got him, and he's got him easily. I did not have to eat my hat after all. And Bieland goes through as well. Michel doesn't know where he's getting it from.
It often happens in sidecar racing. If one guy forces through, he opens the gap and the rest can come through with him. There's a back marker really getting in the way here. Gerald de Haas looks behind. Alain Michel is back in second. Rolf Bieland's back in third.
And we've got 1 lap to go now. That's it. They're on their last lap, and Stroyer has timed it to perfection, absolute perfection, into red gate for the last time. Brilliant manoeuvring there from the Dutchman. I can't say anything better than that.
That's real racecraft. Real racecraft.
Stroyer has destroyed them. It's amazing. How on earth did he manage to find all that extra performance from somewhere? He's broken the toe now. Michel might as well settle for second place. Stroyer has absolutely got it in the bag. Well calculated, brilliant trackcraft manoeuvring.
And Stroyer will go to within 1 point of Steve Webster at the top of the table if he keeps this lead to the checkered flag. He's only got half a lap to go. Alain Michel is probably now more worried about Rolf Bieland taking second place off him than he is about catching Egbert Stroyer.
Well, what can I say about Stroyer? He sat there in second place for all that time. He sussed out down the inside all of the time of Michel, absolutely blitzed him. There's no possible way. We're onto the back straight now, under the Dunlop Bridge. You can see a big black line being left there as he turns the power on. Will Bieland be able to get up the inside of Michel down here into the S's, which Stroyer is now entering on the brakes? No, I don't think so on this occasion, but we still have the Melbourne Loop.
We do, and a good win for Yokohama Tyres, who have not done well here. Bieland is attacking Alain Michel. Michel looks over his shoulder.
Bieland's going to go for the inside, but no, he's not going to be able to make it. He's going to make a nice wide arc through this turn so he can get the power on early and try and get under Michel going into Goddard's, which is the last corner on the track before the end of this race.
Here's the leader, Egbert Stroyer and Gerald de Haas, the leaders, one should say, coming round to take a win. A well-deserved and brilliantly crafted win for the Dutchman. What is happening behind him? Michel has held them off. Alain Michel takes second. Rolf Bieland and Kurt Woltersberg are third. And that is an excellent win for Egbert Stroyer.
Well, the man, he's turned his light off. He's obviously done his business, so the light's off the front of the bike. There goes the old Dutch flag. Well, why not indeed, I suppose. He showed them which way to go on this particular event. There's no doubt about that. A well-calculated race to the last minute. Michel didn't have any answer to come back with, and just about, as it happened, held off this man. Bieland, many times world champion, and he finished third.
We're just waiting for the fourth place man to come over the grid. There he is. It's the Zabrugs in fourth. 36 seconds behind Bieland. The Eglofs are next. The Egloff twins are fifth. Sixth place, Kamano. That flag is not going to be healthy by the end of this. Kamagaya comes through in seventh now. Oh, dear me.
Well, I thought he didn't even on the grass while he was watching the flag. Very good indeed.
And yes, look, another flag.
Oh yes, I hope they didn't have it made in the same place.
To confirm the result, Egbert Stroyer and Gerald de Haas win. Alain Michel and Simon Birchall second. Rolf Bieland and Kurt Woltersberg are third.